Can sharing your invention too soon hurt your patent? It can, and sometimes the damage happens before an inventor even realizes it. A trade show demo, a social media post, or a conversation with the wrong audience can create problems that are much harder to fix later. Think of it as announcing the ending of a movie before you've bought the ticket. In this inventive fireside, Devin will answer that question in 60 seconds or less. Then he'll spend about 5 more minutes explaining what inventors, startups, and business owners should watch for, why timing matters, and how to avoid accidentally weakening their patent position. Real Devin, take it away.
Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to throw the 90-second, or sorry, 60-second shot clock up to or start on answering the question. We'll get right into it. So main thing that inventors are often not aware of is that when you put out an invention into the public, and I'll get into what the public means, but when anytime your invention first hits the public, very first time any of the details to the public, you now have 1 year time clock within which you can file a patent application. Couple things to be aware of is one, hitting the public. That means if it is a public disclosure show, offering it for sale, pitching it to investors, doing a trade show, putting up a website, doing a white paper, going out and advertising to hire people where you tell what the company is, putting up a LinkedIn post, those type of things. All of those can qualify as public disclosure. So a lot of times I'll have people come in my office say, hey, been doing this for a few years, or I've been working on getting this going for a few years, and now I'd like to actually file a patent application when in fact they've already missed their window. So you have 1 year from the time that you file or do the initial public disclosure within which you can file a patent application. So there's a 60-second answer. Now let me throw up the 5-minute shot clock where we'll dive into it a little bit more. So there's the 5 minutes. So now, one of the other things to be aware of is the other place where inventors and founders often get tripped up is, okay, I have 1 year. So if I put it out today as an example, I have 1 year within to file the patent application. As long as I file within that 1 year, I'm fine. Half true. So that is with the assumption that nobody else does any other activities that are related or copying or mimicking yours. So sometimes you'll say, hey, I put it out today. Great. I have 1 year that I can then go and file a patent application, but it's a simpler and easy invention. So I'll use a Snuggie as an example. It's a Snuggie. People see it, they automatically grasp it, they know exactly what it is. And within a month, you have 100 different knockoffs. All of those knockoffs are prior inventions previous to when you file your patent application. So just because you have a year, that is from the time that you can file your patent application, assuming nobody else does anything else in the meantime. So if somebody else puts out a knockoff, you've not just closed your window. You can't do it because that knockoff, even if it's identical to your invention, is now prior art. It's a previous invention that can be cited against yours. If somebody else independently comes up with it. So AI is a really hot field right now. A lot of people doing similar things. Somebody else comes up with a similar idea 3 months down the road before you file your patent application within that 1 year, you've now just lost that window. So not only do you have 1 year that you have from the time you put down the public, you also have to be aware that it is a first to file system or if first you put it out there system. So anything before you put it out by anybody else becomes prior art, and you and can present a problem for you being able to file your patent application. A couple of things to be aware of. People often don't think of it. If you go out and do investor pitches, so you go out and want to start shopping around, you want to get investors to come in on your project, you want them to invest in your business, that's a public disclosure. So if you go out from the first time you go out and do your very first pitch, that's now a 1 year time clock ticking. Same thing if you start out and go offer for sale. So I'm going to go pre-sell it, or I'm going to go do a Kickstarter just to see if it's going. Now you have that 1 year time clock ticking anytime. And it's not just, hey, I did a little bit of activity, but I really didn't start putting it out in the public very heavily for another 6 months. No, it's the very first time from that very first date you put it anywhere out in the public, you have that 1 year time clock. Once that's going, if you file a patent application 1 year and 1 day after that window, you've now dismissed your window. You've donated it to the public. Doesn't mean you can't keep doing your invention. You can still go out, you can still sell your invention, you can still go out and compete in the marketplace, You simply can't file a patent application on it. You can't have that exclusivity or that ownership. It becomes public domain. Anybody can do it. Nobody can stop each other from doing it. The other question that often comes up is, okay, well, how is a patent office going to know? So if I put it out in the public and I miss that window and it's now 2 years down the road, patent office probably isn't going to know. They're never going to find out. How are they going to know if I went and pitched it to investors or I went out and I started doing a Kickstarter? Well, one, they're going to do a pretty extensive examination for any prior art, part of examination of a patent. If you put it online, pretty good chance an examiner is going to find that. I've had a lot of clients that think that, oh, wait, I just have a small website or I just have this small campaign or this, white paper. Patent office will never find it. Most of the time they do. But let's even assume they never find it, that you were able to get it by. It was a exclusive investor pitch. It was closed doors. Nobody ever found out. You go through the patent process. Examiner never knows about it. They issue the patent and you get an issued patent. Once you go out to enforce it, once you are actually wanted to say, okay, somebody is knocking off my patent, I want to enforce it against them, or I want to go out and get acquired by a big business, they're going to either whether it's a lawsuit or a due diligence with an investor or potential acquirer, they're going to do a lot of due diligence. They're going to ask you, is there any public disclosure issues? If you're in a lawsuit, they're going to comb through all of your original invention information, what you did and when you do it. You're going to have to go on record. Similarly, with due diligence with a potential acquirer, you're going to have to go on record and say, I don't have any public disclosure issues. If they find it, they've invalidated your patent. So even if you get it past the patent office, it is always hanging over your head that at some point somebody's going to find out. So you're better to file early once you do it. Putting it out in the public is always inherently has that risk. And as soon as you put it out in the public, you have to make sure you keep track of those dates and also make sure that the risk of somebody else copying and mimic it doesn't circle back to harm you when you actually go to file it, that there isn't already prior art or previous inventions that are out there. So those are a few things to keep aware of as soon as you start putting things out in the public. You've now got that time clock ticking. You have to worry about knockoffs, competitors, and you also have to make sure that you don't overlook or miss those dates and then try and just hope that the examiner doesn't find them. So if you have any other questions on patents, applications, or putting things out in the public and what you might want to worry about or consider, feel free to reach out to us at Miller IP Law. And until then, or until we chat, best of luck with your journey and with your business.